There comes a point in every caregiver's journey that they absolutely need a break, that they just can't take anymore. And for me, that meant one thing and one thing only. It was time for a Disney cruise. Hello and welcome to the Disney Wish. I've decided I'm taking a solo cruise and I've never done this before, but the opportunity hit and it's my birthday and I thought, why not? Let's enjoy my birthday and a self-care trip. I'm spending 4 days here on the Disney Wish. I just plan to use this week to relax and clear my head, have no jobs. I love my husband, and yes, it is harder to travel when he's with me, but it's not as though I begrudge that at all. But it's also okay for me to enjoy the fact that this travel has been easy. It was easy to get on the plane. It was easy to get off the plane. I just went and grabbed a regular Uber and went to a regular hotel, and everything was just super simple, and that's okay. It reminds me of the fact that it is harder when I travel with my husband, and so I need to be kinder to myself when I'm so exhausted and thinking, no one else is this exhausted. Why am I this exhausted? What's wrong with me that I'm this exhausted? No, that's not what it is. It's that it is harder, and that's okay. But I do need to give myself grace for the fact that it is harder. Normally we go to the embarkation lunch. I decided to try my luck at the Mickey's Festival of Foods here on the Disney Wish. It is a series of outdoor quick service. You can get pizza or barbecue or grill, hot dog, hamburgers, things. And then there are these Donald's Cantina bowls. I put in an allergy order. They were super helpful with my order. They forgot rice, it looks like, but that's okay. Since I got on so early, I was on the ship before noon. So there was no line. It wasn't even open until noon. So it was very easy to come to Mickey's Festival of Foods and get something here. And now I'm sitting here and, well, obviously there's no one behind me, but I sat at the last table, but there's no one in front of me either. It's very empty and I'm just enjoying the quiet, and it's a little chilly. So I probably won't stay out here for too long, but then I can go explore because I have extra time. I recently watched Jen LaForge. She kind of inspired this because I was debating whether I was going to take this opportunity to do this very last minute cruise. And I saw her solo cruise video, and she talked about how on that cruise she was doing no rushing. She was just going to do what she wanted on her own timeline. And I was like, yes, that is what I need. So right now, I'm just going to enjoy this delicious bowl, sans rice. I forgot the rice. I was like, I would like a rice bowl with, and I guess the rice wasn't implied. I don't know. I will say, I need Disney to rethink these cups over here. I ended up having to get two because the coffee was too hot for these cups. I support their effort to be more environmentally conscious, but they're gonna need something for the hot. I'm sure these are fine for cold, although I wish they were a little bigger. They're kind of small, but it's not working for the hot, so they need to address that. I have about 20 minutes until the rooms are ready, and it just occurred to me that I could come sit in the rainforest room checking out the loungers, which is lovely because, as I mentioned, it is very cold today, so I'm gonna chill on this lounger. I did take my shoes off, and just be here for the next couple 10-15 minutes. Now, I do want to acknowledge that I am very aware that it is an incredible privilege for me to be able to do a solo cruise as my caregiver getaway. Not only because of the financial piece, it's very expensive generally to travel as a solo cruiser because you have to pay for two people. And I happened to so they invited travel agents to come for what they call a familiarization trip, which is that you are here to learn about the ship so that you can sell it better. And they gave us big discounts in order to do that. It's not free. Some places they do free, but Disney is never free. So maybe if you're a fancy blogger, I guess, but otherwise never free. So I decided to take them up on the opportunity because it's my birthday and I needed that break so bad because my stress levels in every area are out of control. But in addition to the financial privilege, there's also the logistical privilege. There are a lot of people who could never consider going this far and being this unavailable to their disabled spouse. I have the structures in place to be able to leave my husband and know that he's going to be taken care of and then he's going to be okay. And that wasn't always the case. In fact, this is the most unavailable I've ever been. I will be at sea for 4 days and not able to help anybody, but he'll be okay. In case you're new here, my name is Brooke and I travel with my husband, who's a wheelchair user, and we document our travels, Disney and otherwise, and how we travel with a disability. When you book a travel agent familiarization trip, for the cruises, they randomly assign your rooms. But in ironies of all ironies, I ended up in a wheelchair accessible room. So of course, I will do a room tour because why wouldn't I? It's yet another accessible room to be able to show, but I just thought that was hilarious. So going in. Okay, ooh, it's nice and warm and toasty in here because they knew it's freezing outside. Very nice. Oh, that balcony is gorgeous. I'll show you shortly. So I am in an aft balcony, which means I have all kinds of space. Look over here, you can see that I have lounge chairs back here. And so I am feeling very lucky, feeling like a very lucky girl. And I'm excited to go on this journey. I'm excited to spend the week just relaxing, and I'm excited to have some days to myself so I can, there's a lot that is in flux right now with my job and things like that that have made things a little harder. And so I'm hoping to be able to just relax and think about what my next chapter holds and just take care of me for the week and celebrate this birthday by treating myself to self-care. I've already scheduled a massage and a facial. The facial is actually going to be today, which I figure, okay, let's do the facial and then try to be really good about my skincare for the rest of the week. I need to make sure I'm hydrating well. This is some decaf tea that I picked up because, it's chilly. I'm not going to vlog this whole trip because I do need to relax and sort of process. And then also, I do want to try more things on the ship that I didn't try before. After all, that is the point that why Disney invited us, was so that we could get to know the ship a little better. And so by us, I mean cruise travel agents. I'm not sharing the room. I'm all by myself. So the plan for today, we'll do the muster drill, and then I will do the facial and chill and do whatever I want. Good morning. So it is debarkation day, and I am here in 1923, which is one of the 3 rotational restaurants on the Disney Wish, and it is very old Hollywood, 1950s, I think, 30s. I guess it's 1930s. Yeah, because it's called 1923. So it's 1920s. Ooh, I need more coffee. They give you baby cups here. I need real coffee. This isn't the most kid-friendly of the restaurants, but it's my favorite of the rotational dining, largely because they have a filet mignon here, which is very good. It's not Paolo good, but it's very good, especially for rotational dining. It might be one of the best rotational dining at sea meals available. So I thought I would come on and talk a little bit about the caregiver side of this and things that I did to make sure that I would be able to go on this and sort of why I did. But first, let me reflect a little bit on the cruise. So these 4 days have been fantastic. I basically treated the ship as a floating spa. I got a reinforced pass, which to their thermal spa. So every day I was able to go in and use the hot tub and the steam room and the sauna and the frigidarium and just, the lounge chair, the heated lounge chairs, and just really just relax. And so that was a great way to have just sort of a time to space out. I purposely put my phone in the locker. Often I would take the phone with me, but this time I did not because I really just wanted to unplug and relax and think and all of that. And I also did I had 3 treatments. I had a facial, I had a massage, and then I got a second massage. I have been noticing that I have a lot of sore points along my body. I have a lot of tension in my shoulders. I have pain in my back. And I have just a lot of really weird sore spots and that I didn't notice prior to losing weight. And so they let them work them out, and it hurt, but then it felt much better. So I did that twice to really get in there, and I definitely feel a lot looser, and then I'm going to look into some sort of physical therapy massage type thing when I get home, because it really has been reducing the pain. So that was a bonus that I wasn't expecting from this cruise, but I really appreciate it. And I just did whatever I felt like doing. I spent a lot of time by myself, but that's okay, right? Sometimes time alone is good. And I did the rotational dinners twice. I did last night because I was in 1923, and I did the first night because I was in Marvel and it was the first night. I wanted to get to know the staff and such. But then my next 2 nights were supposed to be in Arendelle, and I don't love Arendelle. The performance in Arendelle is fantastic. They do a great job, and if your kiddos love Frozen, oh my goodness, it's wonderful. The menu is just not food that I like, and it's a lot of peas. So I don't have a lot of options at Arendelle. So I decided to skip Arendelle, and I got room service, both for the pirate night and for the actual Arendelle meal. And that was lovely because that meant I wasn't on anybody else's time schedule. I could go to the spa in the evening if I wanted to. I could go to whichever show I wanted because, the shows are timed based on your dinner time. And so I could go to the late show or I could go to the early show. I didn't have to worry about what time I had to be at the show. And so that was really nice. And I did see the shows here. I don't always take the time to see the shows because I'm tired. And so I enjoyed being able to do that this time. Hello. Okay, now let's talk about the caregiver part. So I was not as exhausted on this trip as I normally am traveling. And a lot of that is because it is hard to travel with a disability. And now I don't know if 100% of it's because of that, right? Now I have lost 130 pounds over the last 2 years. And so that certainly has an impact on my stamina, without question. But also traveling with a wheelchair user and doing all of that and traveling with a wheelchair. I mean, for both the wheelchair user and the caregiver spouse, it is a lot. And I kind of forgot that. And not to say that means I don't want to do that, but it does remind me that I need to give myself grace a lot more than I do. I'm very good at beating myself up and deciding that I'm not good enough, and it's something that me and my therapist are working on. But it is a lot of work, and I think moving forward, I need to figure out a way to build in some me time to recover from the travel part. I get so focused on my husband Adam and making sure that his needs are taken care of and that can be physically and emotionally exhausting. I'm always worried about the logistics, but also I'm making sure that he's being treated well, because it's very easy for him to not be treated well. There's a lot of people like asking me what he needs, and I say he's right there, and a lot of ableist, assumptions and things that I'm constantly having to fight against to make sure that he's being treated with dignity, in addition to making sure that his chair gets there safely and that he gets there safely and that, he's not gonna have any issues. And I do all that because I love him and we love traveling together, and it is just part of the cost of travel. I've accepted that. And that's why we started doing this, to make that part a little bit easier for people, because at least then you know what you're in for, right? Because the unknown is far scarier. But also, it's my trip too. And so I do need to make sure that I am taking care of myself. The reason that we like traveling with Disney so much is that I know they're going to make sure everything is okay in terms of his needs in travel. If, everyone can make a mistake, including Disney, but there's never been an instance where they didn't try to make it work. Absent maybe the terrible situation of Lookout Cay and how they had no beach wheelchairs the first time we went. I'll link that video. But besides that, there have been, they always do their best. And even then, they did give us like a gift certificate as a, sort of apology, goodwill gesture for that. So one strategy I'm thinking about using for next time would be to come down 2 days early instead of 1. That would give me a down day to just chill and relax after we've traveled, specifically for cruising. A day to just do, take care of me before we then do the next travel day, which is getting onto the ship. I think that might help. So I think I might think about doing that next time. Another strategy I've thought about is just thinking about ways to de-stress on the day of travel. Now, how am I gonna do that? I don't know. But so if you have ideas, if there's things that you do that you find helpful to de-stress from a stressful travel day, please put them in the comments. Let's have a conversation, because this is real. Now, in terms of leaving my husband behind, because I know that especially when you're starting out, that feels impossible. And I've been there. I have, when my husband was first injured, I was there 24/7. And then we had nurses that came in 3 days a week. And that at least gave me some time to be able to, not be on for a little bit. Then when I had to return to work, that became super important, because then the nurses could take care of him for, I had to sort of time things out to make sure that he was, going to be okay while I was gone. And I had the nurses come in the days that I had to go into the office. And then fortunately back then I had telework. So I was able to telework the other days. Not that he needed constant care, but I could schedule breaks for when he needed to go to the bathroom, when he needed, all the things that he would need help with. Fortunately, he is decently independent now. If you've been around the channel for a while, you know that my sister-in-law, his sister, and her son live with us. That is a major reason why I'm able to go on a trip like this, because she moved in to help me take care of him. It was mutually beneficial for her as well. She was, dealing with the work transition, and so it worked out really well. And then, she had her son, who has become like a son to me. And so now she helps me take care of her brother, and I'm helping raise her son, who likes me to call him my kid as opposed to my nephew. We are a family unit, and it works really well. And I am so grateful that she's in my life, and that, that she and Rowan are in my life, because without them, it just wouldn't work as well. And it's they bring such joy, and she's become like a sister to me. So having that support has been just so great. It doesn't mean that it makes everything easy, but it makes things easier for sure. So she is now taking, primary caregiver duties while I'm gone, and I appreciate that. And then for times that neither of us are there, we have a couple of things in place that make things feel safer. The biggest thing I did when my husband was injured is that I got cameras. I got security cameras for the outside of our house, because I was concerned that having someone with a disability might make us seem like a target. And so I wanted security cameras, and we have an alarm system. And then connected to that alarm system, we also have interior cameras, not in the bedrooms, but there is one place in the hallway so that I could hear if someone was calling out for help from that camera. And we have cameras strategically placed throughout our house so that if he were to fall, for example, I'd be able to see. There was a smoke issue at one point, and I was able to see where he was, and because the alarms alerted me that there was smoke in the house, and so I was able to figure out where he was and tell him to get out, make sure he was okay, tell him to leave the house, call 911, all of those things. So having that connected system, we use Ring. I know there are others that do similar things, but Ring has been very good for us. And I can put links in the description for what we use. But it's just been it just makes me feel more secure, knowing that I can see in the house, I can see if something happens, I can see if he falls. I have smart locks on all the doors. And so if there was a situation where he fell, I'm able to unlock the door to let ambulances in from my phone without them needing to break down the door. So that's lovely. And having the smart home accessories has been super helpful for our safety, for my comfort in knowing that he's secure. And another thing we did is we use Apple products in our house. And so we have home pods, and I have them in every room, and they can call 911. So I have him as the owner so that it never says verify who you are. Doesn't do any of that. So he's set as the owner of the home so that it makes sure that that everything responds to him. And I have them set up so they will call emergency services. So if he were to fall, he can call emergency services and get a fall assist on his own. He has a smartwatch, and I do ask him to wear that at all times when he's by himself, and he does that. And that has fall detection. Clearly I'm worried about a fall. That is the biggest fear, right? Anything else he can get himself out of, right? He can, if he were, as long as he has access to his chair, if there was a fire, he can get out of the house. We've practiced that. We have 2 exits that he can use, 3 exits actually, that he can use to get out of the house. And so we're confident at that. But falling is the thing that I worry about the most. And so when he's home alone. And so he has multiple ways of getting help. His watch will call if he falls and he doesn't respond. So if he were to hit his head or something, the watch will call 911. If they need to break down the door, they need to break down the door if I didn't know it happened. But I think it'll contact me as well. We've never actually had to enable that, but I believe it'll contact me as well. And so then I could open the door for 911, whether I'm in the middle of the sea or whatever. Hello, I'm at the airport now. So what was the point of this video? The point of this video was to serve as a reminder to myself and all my fellow caregivers that it is okay to take time for yourself. Not only okay, it is necessary. It is a requirement. It is, as they say, you can't pour from an empty cup. So You have to prioritize yourself. There's no way to survive this life without taking care of yourself. Also, it is okay to acknowledge the hard parts. I think sometimes we get into superwoman mode and we have to act like everything is fine. And of course, we're doing this. And if we complain, it's as though we love our spouses less. And that's not at all true. You can love someone and acknowledge that a situation is really hard at the same time. So don't feel guilty about that. And don't feel guilty about taking time for yourself. Yeah, it may not be a solo cruise. Like I said, I was very lucky to be able to do that. But it might be as simple as taking a long weekend to go visit some family. I did that in the early days. Or it might be taking yourself to the movies. There are services, they call it respite care, where they will come and take care of your loved one for a fee, obviously. They will come and take care of your loved one so that you can get a break, whether that break is just having a date night together and not having to be the one responsible for all the ADLs, or it might be going and having some alone time. But whatever it is for you, please make sure that you're doing it, because you will burn out fast if you don't. There's just no way to do this without burning out if you aren't taking regular care of yourself. And so it is a reminder that I need often, and so it is a reminder that I'm putting out for you all as well. And so, as we say in our videos, until next time, we say stay strong, because this life is hard. Whether you're the one in the wheelchair or the one taking care of the person in the wheelchair, this life is hard. There's no way around it. There are things that people have no idea what goes into being disabled or caring for a loved one with a disability until they're in it, right? I never believed how much time I would spend thinking about the safety of our bathroom, which is the most dangerous room in the house, just so you know. You might think it's the kitchen. No, it's the bathroom. So we say stay strong because it's a requirement. We say get creative because disabled people and their caregivers are some of the most creative people on the planet. Out of necessity. You just have to be. Things don't work the same way that they work for everyone else, and so you have to come up with new ways of doing things. And so we want to remind you of how incredibly creative you are, and the fact that anything is figure-outable, and whatever's in front of you, you have figured out everything up until this point, so you will continue to figure things out. And we say keep exploring, because you can't let life stop because of your disability or because of your loved one's disability. Life still goes on. You still have to have adventures. You still need to do things. And of course, what you might be able to do may be different, for sure. You may not be able to do certain things that you once loved, but that doesn't mean that you can't explore, you can't learn new things, you can't experience new places. And so do what you have to do those things. You can't wait for life to start. You can't wait for, maybe they'll get better and then we can go do these things. Maybe they'll regain the ability to walk and then we'll go do X, Y, Z. No. Wherever you're at right now, start preparing for how can you get out? How can you do things now? And even if that means virtually, then you do that. Or you start planning a bunch of trips for when you're medically cleared to do so, when your doctor says it's okay for you guys to be away from home. Prepare for that day. But keep exploring, keep enjoying life, keep doing the little things that make you happy, and take care of yourselves. Until next time, we'll see you in the next video.